In USA, the most sought after location for jobs in the IT field is the Silicon Valley in the state of California. But did you know that Silicon Valley actually got its name for having the world's first semiconductor or electronics chips manufacturing company? It had a very, very booming semiconductor industry, and it was one of the first and the pioneers of manufacturing of electronics chips. Now, electronics chips are made out of silicon, so that's why the name Silicon Valley. Now, in this video, I will be exploring why pursuing a master's in electronics engineering with a specialization in VLSI in the USA is one of the best decisions that you can make in 2025 and beyond. In 2022, Biden government announced the CHIPS Act to increase the domestic manufacturing of electronics chips in order to decrease its dependency on China and Taiwan, where the world's bulk of electronics chips are manufactured. The government in just the last 2 years invested $150 billion in R&D and to incentivize private companies like Intel, Micron, Texas Instruments, etc. to establish their own manufacturing units in the USA. This alone created more than 150,000 jobs in the entire R&D, manufacturing and design of electronics chips. As I went through the CHIPS Act, I noticed that one of the core goals of this act is to attract international talent, that is students from all across the world, to fulfill the shortage of domestic skilled workforce in the USA. Now, this is a clear and outright indication that as an international student, why it is one of the best specializations to pursue in the coming 10 to 20 years. Now, if you are an ECE or EEE UG student, you know that specializing in VLSI embedded systems will give you skills required to pursue a career in chip design and manufacturing. When it comes to the chip designing and manufacturing process, there are a vast number of job roles and specializations that you can pursue post your masters. Here are some of the examples of what are the kind of job roles you can pursue. Now, when it comes to salaries, the average pay for a master's graduate in this field is $104,000 per annum, which is on par with a master's in data science graduate, which is one of the most sought after master's degrees in the USA. However, I feel that the IT field has become more and more competitive because a lot of students are going into this field. So I personally feel if you are an ECE or EEE undergraduate, specializing in the VLSI field will, be great for you salary wise and also job security wise. Also, the career progression in this field is going to be great because the demand is going to increase over the coming 5 to 10 years. This means that you will be paid more than $150,000 if you are an experienced engineer, which will give you access to a very high standard of living in the USA. Some of the top companies that hire graduates are Texas Instruments, Analog Devices, Qualcomm, Intel, PMC Sierra, etc. Now let's look at some of the top states that have, great concentration of chip manufacturing companies and job openings. Obviously, the first state with the highest number of job openings is the state of California because it has a very high density of semiconductor manufacturing companies there. Especially the Bay Area, which is actually famous for IT jobs, in fact is also very, very good location for electronics engineers with specialization in VLSI. In fact, the whole of West Coast, not just California, but starting from on absolute top, that is Washington, to up until New Mexico, that whole stretch of the West Coast of the United States is a great place to study and find jobs for electronic engineers. The next on the list is the state of Texas, which also has great job openings, reputed companies, and strong research in the universities going on in this particular field. In this state, especially the city of Austin, which is also known as the Silicon Hills, is a great place to find jobs and also have a great standard of living, which is cheaper than the state of California. The third on this list is the state of Oregon. Oregon's largest industry in terms of exports is the semiconductor manufacturing industry. In fact, it has 9% of all the jobs in the USA in this particular sector, which means it is a great place with a tremendous amount of job openings. The biggest advantage here is that the cost of living and the competition for jobs is very less compared to other states mentioned on this list. The fourth on this list is Massachusetts, especially the Boston region, which is home to companies like Analog Devices and Lockheed Martin. So this state is definitely a great place to study and find jobs. And the final state on this list is North Carolina. The Raleigh Research Triangle in the state of North Carolina is a hotbed for jobs in computer and electronics engineering fields. Now let's look at some good universities that specialize in this field in the Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3 rankings. In Tier 1, we have Stanford, MIT, UC Berkeley, Carnegie Mellon, etc. Honestly, these universities are pretty hard to get into, so you need to have a great profile and a great GPA and research, etc., etc. In Tier 2, we have North Carolina State University, which is one of my favorite universities out there, especially for this field. I have sent a lot of students to this field, especially from local engineering schools, because it has curriculum that is on par with the Tier 1 universities, but is relatively easier to get into for a common applicant. Now, there is also Virginia Tech and Arizona State University, etc. In Tier 3, we have San Diego State University, Portland State University, New Mexico State University, etc., which are all great universities for even average profile students to get into and also have great job opportunities post-graduation. So my final verdict is, for all those ECE EEE students who are looking to pursue a master's, I would highly recommend pursuing a VLSI specialization. Yes, over the last 10-20 years, a lot of your seniors have actually gotten into courses like MS in Computer Science, MS in Data Science, etc. But those streams have become extremely competitive and the job market has become extremely uncertain. Whereas the electronics industry, the job market is booming not just in USA, but is going to boom across the world. So even if you pursue masters in this field and work for 10 years or 15 years, you can always come back to your home country. Like India is also going to, invest a lot in its electronics chip manufacturing company. So it will be a great skill to acquire for you. I hope that has been helpful. If you did like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for listening.